Welcome to Elevated, where we have conversations of real issues that matter. I'm your host, Susan, and today we are shedding light on girls that have suffered sexual abuse and trafficking. We have a lady here, Doreen, who has dedicated her life to rescuing these ladies that have suffered sexual abuse and trafficking. Doreen, welcome to Elevated.
Thank you.
For those that are unfamiliar with you, kindly tell us more about yourself.
Good evening, viewers. My name is Doreen.N. a married woman to one lovely gentleman called Nyakwa Isaac. We have 4 children, and just we bless the Lord for that. As a girl growing up, I grew up in a slum called Naguru, where poverty was our daily meal, and through trying, we were recruited into Compassion International, me and my big brother Richmond. And through compassion, we found hope, we found love, and our futures were rebuilt. Yes.
At what age was that this hope came through?
At the age of 8.
Compassion, do they take care of you up to campus?
Yes, they do.
But then I've been wondering, when I read your story, Naguru, it's quite a big area. Why you two?
Honestly, I would believe it was God's plan, because it's because of compassion that Lupins was birthed. I remember in my senior 2, I was talking to my math teacher then called Mr. Jingo, and I promised God that when I am done with school and I am blessed with money, I would give back to community. So I was talking to Mr. Jingo about what I wanted to do when I grow up, and I was asking him about which courses I would do at university, and he told me about social work, told me about development studies and social sciences, and the fact that he called social work SWASA, for me it caught my eye. So when I was done with senior 6, I only applied for social work and social administrations at university. And I was blessed that I was given the course, which wasn't easy because as a girl growing up, a girl trying to realize myself and what God has in stock for me, it wasn't easy because I did my degree for 7 years. I was either in and out of school because I couldn't afford the tuition. And it was really hard. But I thank God that I did.
You said you wanted to give back to community.
Yes.
That is in senior 2.
Yes.
And Lupins Africa, is this when you got the name?
Not really. The name came very late. I remember after graduation, I was in and out of different jobs. And in 2018, I met a gentleman called Jason McGregor.
Mzungu?
Yes, and he was a friend to my brother. So one time we are seated and we are just in the same spot, and he's asking me about work, how frustrated I was at the work I was in, and he just told me that it is your brain, it is your energy, it is your wisdom that is making this organization move forward. And it's like, you can start your own. And that's when I was like, okay. So the big-headed me gave it time. So 2018, 2019, 2020. So in 2020, I told God, if you want this for me, if you want me to be that person that is going to bring hope to the people, to those in pain, that is going to bring hope to those hearts that have been shattered, please give me a sign. And through prayer and fasting, I had a team of 3 people, that was Patra and Fred, that went into prayer and fasting for 40 days.
Prayer partners.
For 40 days, it was, and every evening we met and prayed together. So my lovely husband, who supported what I really wanted to do, became my first donor. I remember we looked for a house near our place in Chira, and it was, I would say, easy. Because
to get a place,
it was very easy. And even when we got to the place, the prices at which they were telling us were really high. And then I told this gentleman, I'm not looking for this place for myself to stay. I'm looking for this place that I can bless other girls. By then I wanted boys and girls. But I was like, let me start with the girl child because they are more vulnerable. And why did I do this? I remember in COVID of 2020, I visited one of the slums that I used to go to when I was in university. And the numbers were alarming of girls who have been abused and others were pregnant. And what broke my heart is I remember meeting a girl whose name I will reserve, and I asked her, so who is the father of the child? And she only told me, I know him as Peter.
How old was this girl?
She was 14 years. And she said, I only know him as Peter. I don't know where he stays. I don't know. The number that he gave me is not on.
Oh dear.
And then for me that hit me hard. And I came back to the Lord and asked him, so what should I do? How best can I do this? I can't do this without you. I want you to be like the foundation of this ministry. And I've seen him work. I've really seen him work. Because when my husband gave us the first monies, we paid rent. And after paying rent, we bought beds, we bought mattresses, we bought blankets, bed sheets, and we were ready. But still inside me, I was like, I don't think I'm ready for this.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Then I told God, I want a sign from you that this is your thing. And I remember talking to a friend, an American friend called Baker. I just told her, I'm going through this and I just need you to pray for me, and that the Lord will give me the gas, will give me the energy, will show me that it is Him.
Yeah.
And I remember her dad sending me $3,000.
The dad to that friend?
To that friend of mine. Sent me $3,000, and I was like, wow. I know the Holy Spirit was very clear. What else do you need? So we started. And I remember our first girl, Harriet.
Before you tell us about that girl, Lupins Africa, I've been asking myself, what does this name mean?
The Lupins Africa is a flower.
Lupins is a flower?
It's a flower that symbolizes healing from trauma.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And we have it here in Africa?
Not really. I got the seeds, I think, a week ago, and I'm trying to plant and see if it can grow in Africa.
Do you know
and
its
believe
color?
in God. It has different shades. It has the purple, it has red, it has white, it has pink, it has blue, so it has different colors.
How do you come up with this name?
Amazingly, when we do apply at the URSB, we first had several names and we failed. All names were rejected.
Yes.
So I remember the patron now who works with the Ministry of Finance told me, Doreen, you love flowers. Why don't you go into flowers and see how that goes? So we had the tulip, we had the lupins, we had
the lilies,
the marigold and all those. And so 2 names came up, and it was the tulip and the lupins. And I was like, I think the lupins. And that's even before I'd even looked at the flower.
You didn't even know how it looks
like? I
like?
didn't even know how it looks like.
So you're just doing Google?
Like, it wasn't Google per se. It was just like names coming up. We sat together and we were just thinking about names of flowers, and so we applied. And then when we applied, it was 2 names that weren't reserved. It was the tulip and the lupins. So I was like, let's go with the lupins.
So you get the name before you rent the place or after you rent the place?
Before we rent the place.
Before you rent the place?
Yes, we had to first reserve and be sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can have many names and they're all rejected.
Yes.
Yes. So and that's even before I got to know the meaning. You see how God works.
The meaning of the name?
Of the name.
I thought we were talking about flowers.
Yes, flowers, but I didn't know what it symbolized.
Oh.
Yes, so as we were looking for names and all that, so we zero down on lupins. And so we registered the name, we started pursuing the NGO certificate and all that. And back in my mind, I was like, what does this mean?
What am I doing?
What does it symbolize? And that's when I was like, wow, it symbolizes healing from trauma. And I'm already working with girls who are sexually abused, So for me, it was a blessing that it came that way. And that was also a sign that God was into what we were doing. Yes.
So you get the money?
We get the money, we go and do shopping for 6 months. We go to police stations and start introducing ourselves because we didn't want to work with communities direct. Because I have heard of many stories of organizations that rescue from the community, and you know, you're rescuing girls from diverse places, you know, and you can't know. Unfortunately, if a kid died, that's when you get to know they have a family.
You get to know they have a different story.
A different story and a family that is backing them up. I've had organizations that have partnered with over 30 to 50 million after a kid has died. So we opted to be different, and so we decided to work with the police and probation officers. So that's why we only get our girls. We don't get them from communities.
Oh, the police should be the ones to bring the people to you.
To refer the children to us.
Now, do you have, like, are there things that you base on that, okay, the police should first do this procedure before these kids come in?
In police, there's we work with the Child and Family Protection Unit and the Gender Desk.
Okay.
So there's a form called the PF3, and that form is taken to a police surgeon. So the police surgeon checks this girl to be sure that indeed they were sexually abused or they were trafficked. Because trafficking, I'm sure many of us think trafficking is from outside the country into the country. But there's also in trafficking, whereby girls are brought from Barara, brought from Bale, brought from Gulu, from Karamoja, and promised to come and work either in supermarkets or brought to work in shops. And unfortunately, we find them in brothels. And they're working as waitresses, they're working as prostitutes. So that's how we rescue them.
So it's the police that goes to these places to rescue these girls?
Sometimes we go with the police. Like, we have to get our hands dirty. I've visited very many nightclubs in the night, the wee hours of the night.
You?
Yes.
Madame Molokole.
But I go with the police, and most times they disguise as my boyfriends.
How do you change your dress code?
Not really. I put on my jeans and maybe a top and maybe a jacket, and
And your husband is okay with it?
He is, because he knows we are on a struggle.
Take me through that.
Yes, so
you get into the club.
It's kind of hard and traumatizing, but we started this in Masese in Jinja.
Okay.
So we worked with the police in Jinja then, and we visited different nightclubs. And many of these nightclubs, they found girls as young as 8 years.
What?
As young as 8 years. I remember one of the girls, unfortunately, she was called Doreen.
Your namesake?
Yes. So I met her in the night, and during the day, she tells me, if I don't do this, then we won't eat. My grandmom is really old, so I need to take care of her.
She's 8 years?
She was 11.
Oh, 11.
She was 11 years.
I thought that when it comes to these clubs, they have the age limit?
In some places, no. And here, say, some customers want the young blood.
Below 18?
Yes.
Okay, so this girl goes there.
She goes there and she dances in the night.
She strips.
She strips. I don't want to use that word, but she strips in the night. And so when I tell her, I'm here to bring hope, I'm here to give you a chance, she tells me, what about my siblings and my grandma?
Doreen, let me ask you. You find this girl doing her work. How do you even start a conversation with her?
So what happens in the night, most times, it's either the police or the people that we have gone with that buy them off as prostitutes.
Okay.
So in the morning is when I come in.
So they buy them off, get a room, sleep in that room,
No.
but they don't touch
because
them.
It's always towards morning when they're out of the clubs.
Okay.
At around 4 or 5 is when they're like, you know what, let's take you on.
And they're willing to listen to you?
Yes, because we have paid them. We have paid for our services, so they listen. And we have rescued some from in that direction. Others refuse. I remember there's a girl that I got, she was around 15 years. And she told me, let me just paraphrase. She told me, Auntie, like she was into drugs. She was HIV positive.
Oh dear.
And she felt like she had nothing to life. But then she told me, ojja kukwata ku bana abalala, bana abatoto badogo. Ojja kukwata ku bano badogo. Nze nga nze navaako dda tokyalina ky'otaasa. There's nothing you're going to do that is going to help me. If I stop the drugs, I might die because either my heart will burst or something. Like, she was into drugs and she felt if she got out of it, something would happen to her.
And she had a family?
She didn't have a family. She was brought by her father, and she was in an abusive family because of a stepmom. So she ran away.
Oh dear.
And that was in Mayuge. So she comes to Jinja to start her life. And she ends up in a strip club.
But you know, someone was saying recently that usually we call those girls like queens. That most of them, the reason why they do such things, it's because they have heavy responsibilities back home and they have to provide. Like the girl you talked about, many of them go into that because they need to provide at the end of the day.
Yes. It's very true because we have had several girls that we have tried to rescue. And because we are not financially
stable
up there, that we can't promise to do much. And it has been hard for us that we have had to let go of some girls because the burden is huge.
Oh dear.
Some of them say, my mom died, my dad doesn't care, so I have to take care of my 5 siblings. That means if you take her out of that, you have to take care of the other siblings. Either take them to school, feed them, get them a place to stay. So that is really, really expensive for us.
So for such a person, you have to let them go?
Sometimes you do. We walk the journey with them. We don't let them go like closing the doors. No. We walk the journey with them, and some of them have come through. And they're like, you know what, if I can go back to school, maybe get empowered in something, either hairdressing or something, and that can help me maybe still sustain my brothers and sisters, but again, be out of this business.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me, your first person, the one you got into that house that you had rented.
I remember we got her through one of the TV stations, and we were called because this girl was abused by her step brother, who per se is the heir of their dad.
Was the son to the dad?
Yeah, was son to the dad, and
but
the
they didn't
heir,
share a mother.
They shared a father and not a mother.
Yes.
So he brings her to Kampala, promising to take her to school, but she ended up being his wife. So we rescued her. She was around 12 when we did. 12 years. And that is after like a week of us like establishing Lupins Africa.
Yes.
And so we called her our baby. Like,
and she was indeed a baby.
She enjoyed all the love because she was alone, because it took us another 2 weeks to rescue another girl. And seeing where she is now for us is strength. What we did is we reunified her back with her family, but still the fact that the brother or the father so-called father is influential, he has kind of influenced her.
What do you mean by influential?
Influential because he's the one with the money. Yeah, he has the money, and you know, in the world, not only in Uganda, but in the world, when someone has money, when they cough, everyone has to listen. So it has been a hard journey for us, that we reached a point and said either it's us or him.
Yes.
And so she's now in school. She's in senior 3 now.
How old is she now?
She's 16.
So Lupins has lived for 4 years?
We're making 5 years.
You're making 5 years.
We made 5 years on the 3rd of March.
Wow.
Yes.
Did she eventually choose you?
She did. She did choose us.
So this whole period that the brother is taking advantage of her, she didn't get pregnant? No,
she didn't. She didn't get pregnant. And that is one of the biggest worries our girls go through when we rescue them, is, am I pregnant? Am I HIV positive? And their biggest question is, why me?
How do you answer that?
Honestly, we have no answer for that. We always don't have an answer for that. But maybe let me take you through our rehabilitation process.
Yeah.
So when we bring in the girls or the girl, I'll call her D. When we rescue D from the police or from the probation office, we bring her into the shelter and we have a form called the initial statement or the initial screening. This gives us a lot of information about this girl, where she comes from, and we attach it to the PF3 that the police has given us. And we give her time to fit in, a week or two, and still we don't give it a timeline because everyone is different.
Yes.
Someone will come in and after 2 days they are fitting in, they have friends, they already have someone they have identified with and all that. And so we give them time to fit in, and then we start the rehabilitation, the restoration. Here we do counseling, individual and group counseling. We do skilling at the shelter. We do necklaces. We do doormats, and we allow these children to be children.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, because we are an organization, but we are not an institution. We don't want to believe that we are an institution. We believe we are a home. Because we have a mother.
Your family.
Just, we want it to feel like a family. And we don't have like a timetable for them, like you wake up at this time, you do this and this. No, we don't want it that way.
How do you do it?
Because we believe that they are children.
But I mean, we are home, but we also have a timetable.
Yes.
You wake up at this time, and this has to be done. Then this follows. Does it mean that
no, it's not like freelance. It's not a freelance place. But what I mean is, we don't attach them to stuff. This week you're doing this week you're doing that, this week you're... Because we feel if we made it like an institution, we are imprisoning these guys.
Yes.
That's what we don't want. That they even have time to play.
Which is good.
Time to themselves. If they have homework, because we also do like the basic education at the shelter. So if they have homework, we come in and do their homework. If they want to go play, if you're 2 people and you want to play Ludo, you want to play netball, you want to go and just run around, just carry your dolls. We want them to feel like it's not a prison that you have to be like locked up and something like that.
Like you have a specific...
Yes.
You talked of a mother. Are you the mother?
No, I'm not. I'm not the mother. We have a mother called Agnes who loves on them.
How do you choose a mother? I thought you'd be the mother.
I am the big mother.
The big mama.
The big picture mother. And we have a qualified social worker who works as a mother. And why do we choose a social worker? It's because besides having the empathy, having the love, you need to be qualified. There are some things that initially we had a mother that wasn't qualified, that had no degree, and things were not shifting as we expected. So we opted to go for one that is educated. Yes.
So it's not just a home. This person can administer counseling.
Though we have
as a
counselor.
mother. And the counselor also sleeps on ground?
No, she doesn't. She doesn't sleep on ground, but the mother does. The mother is there full time.
Don't you have a father?
My husband is Daddy Lupins, so he's the dad. Yeah, they call him Daddy Lupins.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, what I'm curious about,
Yes.
how many are you now? How many girls are there now?
We have rescued over 120 girls.
And they're all there?
Nope. Still, I'll go back to the institutionalization.
Okay.
I believe that a child, as much as they are abused and they need help, they need their families.
Yes, sure.
So we do reunifications. We take them either back to their families or we take them to their next of kin, a safe place where they can thrive as children. Yes.
Do you have a lawyer in your
Yes, we do.
in your home?
The lawyer is one who sits on the board.
Because
Our lawyer sits on the board.
because when you're rescuing these girls, I want to believe there's certain legal things that have to take place.
Yes, we offer the legal support also. We walk through the journey of justice. So besides having our lawyer, we are blessed to have International Justice Mission on our side. So sometimes it's heavy on us as an organization, and we call them in and they have really been supportive. Yes.
So how many children do you have in the home right now?
Now we have 13.
13?
Yes.
Only?
Yes.
I thought that there were like so many in the home.
Yes, we believe that these girls deserve to have a home.
Enough
They
love.
need to be out of this caged place. They need to go out and make friends freely, because at the organization you're not allowed to move out freely for security purposes. But at home you'll go to the neighbors, you'll go where, so that's one thing that we push, that the children deserve to be home. But I'm talking about 13, but then we have some that are in school that we are stuck with, but after school they come back. So in holidays we are like 30 something.
How big is that house?
It's a 2-bedroomed house. Yes, it's a 2-bedroomed house.
It can take in all these 30 children?
Yes, we do triple deckers.
It's like a boarding school.
It's just not really, because they stay. There are 2 rooms, 2 big rooms that can have like 10 deckers or 8 deckers in every room. So we have deckers. We have like. It has a sitting room, it has a dining, it has the bathrooms, it has the kitchen, just like every home would be, is how it is.
How old is your youngest girl?
We got her when she was 2 and a half.
2 years?
And a half. And she is now 5.
What had happened to her?
She was abused.
Sexually?
And something maybe I would want to share is, I would say 70 or 75% of the girls that we have rescued have been abused by their biological relatives. It's
you mean
either
the
father,
uncles?
the uncle, the brother. So it is that hard. It is that hard that we are stuck with some of them because we have imprisoned the perpetrators, and of which the perpetrators are either their fathers, and so these kids are disowned and said, how do you imprison your dad? How do you do this? So that's why we are stuck with most of them. But we are working with the probation office to see if we can do the fostering, the foster care for these girls.
We're going to go for a short break.
Yes, please.
When we come back, I want to listen to that story for the 2-year-old who was abused.
Yes.
Let's go for a very short break and we shall come back with more information about that story.
The devil is here on the earth doing stuff. When you call Jesus, Jesus comes into the situation and overrides and says, let that one go. So whatever the enemy is holding, whether you can't give birth, someone bewitched you that you can't give birth, or someone is just tampering with your star, someone is frustrating you in any way, whenever you come to a place where God is, Jesus does what? Overrides. He said, no, this one is under me, don't touch. And the moment you begin to have Christ in you and you become a witness, the Bible says you become a witness of his resurrection. Why? Because resurrection is the thing that defeats Satan.
Welcome to the Sunrise Show. My name is Angel Walker.
Erectile dysfunction is one of the causes of marital breakups. But do you know we have a solution right here?
On the Sunrise, learn how to utilize your small spaces at home.
Don't miss every weekday mornings, The Sunrise, right here on Promise TV.
Welcome back from that short break. Before we went for the break, Doreen was telling us about the 2-year-old that came into the home when she was sexually abused. Let's hear more about that.
It's 2.5.
Two
She
and
was
a
2.5. And initially as an organization, we thought kids heal so fast and they are not really traumatized and the pain doesn't sink in so deep or last so long. But when we rescued this girl, so the warden, one of her responsibilities is she watches them as they sleep, because the sleeping habits also speak a lot about trauma. So she was wrestling in her sleep, and for us it communicated differently, because initially we wanted to rescue from 8 and above.
Yes.
But then we had this girl and The probation officer told us there's nowhere else they can put her. So we started the journey from there, and I would say that she is now fine, because we've been with her for like 3 years now. She is fine. She is strong. That she now talks about what happened freely, and for us that is a sign of recovery. When a girl comes out and shares her story, and she is not ashamed, and she is not emotional about it, and she is strong. So that is one of the girls now.
Doreen, at
Yes.
2 years and a half, their staff is not even well coordinated. And you can hardly trust what they're saying. I wonder how you managed to get all that information from that young girl.
Yeah, one of our counseling sessions, we have the sand tray. So the sand tray has different animals, like small animals, babies in it.
Yeah, I know
And
it.
so when the child is seated on the floor, on the carpet, and they are playing with the sand tray, it communicates a lot. If you find the baby is falling, if you find the baby is like upside down, it communicates a lot. And as much as we believe that they are young, they are not very young. Like, they can narrate what happened, and they can narrate how they feel. And another way that we do is we give them papers and tell them to draw,
Yes.
to write what they feel, like what is on their mind on that day. And that's when you realize how damaged these kids are.
How did this girl reach your home?
Through the police. Just the police called us, and it was all over news, amazingly. That case was all over news. I remember many news houses were calling me, asking for updates on this girl. And one of our responsibilities as an organization is to protect these girls. So I refused. I told them no. All you want is a story, mostly for the bloggers and the TikTokers and all that. And I told them, now it feels okay. But I imagine this girl 15 years from now, she has recovered, she's maybe like in her senior 6, or she has joined university, and boom, the story pops up. What will you be doing to this girl? So in that perspective, I said, I am not sharing any story of the girls or attaching names to these girls, because it is not worth it. Yes.
You talked about the rehabilitation center at the home. How does that work?
Yes, so we have the restoration process, where we do counseling, where they do skilling, we do like the basic education, because another thing is we realize most of these girls are being preyed on by the perpetrators because they're out of school. I would say 95% of the girls that we have rescued have been out of school. Either they've been sent home for school fees, or the family is so poor that they can't afford education. So we do that basic education through our teacher at the shelter, who teaches them how to write, how to read. Like, so when they go to school, they are not put into very low classes. So after that, we do equipping them. Some of them go into primary school, secondary school, others go into institutions like the tertiary institute, technical institutes, where they do hairdressing, where they do catering and things like that. So in education, we partner with different schools around Kampala and Wakiso, and top-notch schools, not like good schools, but that are ranked best in the country. So I am blessed that we have partnerships with them, and they have given us discounts.
Wow.
Yes, so we have over 80 girls in school, in primary and secondary, and we have one that is doing nursing. She's I think finishing this year in December. So yeah, we're going to have a nurse.
Is she your eldest?
She's the eldest, yes.
You want to share her story?
Yeah, not really. Yeah, but we rescued her also some years back, and for her it was a longer journey. Even before Lupin started, it was a longer journey, and I worked with her. Yeah, I didn't tell you this, but in my university, what I used to do is I used to go to different communities and just share the love of Christ. And I remember I was working with women with HIV, single women with HIV or widows with HIV. And it was a trying moment because in the process we lost some of the ladies that would die. And you know, at my age, it would pain.
It was traumatizing.
It was so painful. But during that time is when I met this girl's grandmom. And when I heard the stories of what was going on, and it was really hard for me. And so I started the journey with her as an individual. So as life went by, Lupins started, and we're like, why not? Let's put her into Lupins, and yeah, she's now a nurse, graduating in December.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Among the children that you've rescued, or the ladies that you've rescued, what was the most touching story?
Yeah. So in 2022, we got a call from the police. So we work with CID headquarters, Chivuli. So they called us for a case that was around Kampala. And they told us, go with an ambulance. Because this girl was gang raped by 5 men. And she was thrown into the trench. They left her for dead. Unfortunately, it rained on that day. So when people came and found her, they thought she was dead.
Yeah.
But I think it was just the grace of God, and I think her time was not then. So we come in and they take her to hospital, and she had lost a lot of blood. Because she had clots of blood coming out of her. It was tough. For us as an organization, I remember the first time I looked at her, I couldn't hold my tears. It was hard. It was really hard for us. I remember the warden, because we went with the warden and the administrator to visit, and through hospital, because she spent like 2 weeks in hospital. And we had to do blood transfusions, we had to do special meals for her, we tried our best as an organization. But now when I look at her, and last year is when she told me, Mommy, I now changed my name. She's like, the name I was given wasn't my name, it was given to me by the police. But now I think the Lord has put a name on my heart.
Oh, the police registered a different
Yes, I wouldn't say a different name. They only knew her for one name, her surname. So they had to put a second name. So they created a second name, which I don't think was a bad thing. But then she said, that is not my name. It is not my name. So she changed her name. I wish I would say the name, but for her security, I would not. And she's now going to she wants to do hairdressing.
How old is
and she's now 15. She's now 15. Because we had her in 2022, this year she makes 15. She wants to do hairdressing because she has never been to school. So we realized if we took her to school, they would take her to like P2, and at her age, we're like, so we are working with an institution that gives them an opportunity to go through many things: hairdressing, catering, plumbing. So when they make 18, they make a decision on what they really want to do. So she's one of those girls that I look at, and yeah, she told me when she grows up, she wants to be a pastor. She wants to preach the gospel because she explains how the Lord has been faithful, how the Lord has been good to her.
Oh dear.
And yeah, for me, every time I look at her smile, every time I look at her dreaming, because the last time I was there, she was telling me, Auntie, I have homework. And I think I'm getting there.
Oh dear.
Because now she can write her name. She can even say a word or two in English. She tells you, good evening, Auntie. Good evening, Mommy. You are welcome, Mommy. Good night, Mommy. And for me, that is so special. It is so special.
Doreen, that time you've been with this girl, do you want to believe that she's totally healed?
I think she is because, like I said, we do the reunification. But before we do reunification, we do family tracing. So we found out her family is somewhere outside Kampala, far, like 5 hours from Kampala. And when we took her there, we decided to leave her there for 2 weeks. Why do we do that? First is to be sure where she is going to stay is safe. Not only her as a person, but we do it for most of the girls. So we take them there and they first go fit in the community, and then we come back. But most times when we come back, we don't let the community we are coming back. We just appear. Why? To see how this girl is doing, how she's treated at home. And still we work with the chairperson of the community, the women leader of the community, the police of the area, and then we also work with the family. All of them are, we are glad that we work with the Ministry of Gender, and we are certified to have these girls. So there's paperwork that they give us, and on that paperwork, when we come to family tracing and reunification, the police has a place to sign, the chairperson has a place to sign, the women leader has a place to sign, and the family. So this becomes a community responsibility and not only the family. And we have had calls where these girls, the chairman calls and says, you brought this girl here, but I don't think she's safe. As my responsibility, I'm thinking you come and take her away.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So we took her there for 2 weeks, and when she came back, the stories we got were really amazing. Because she says the fact that she was in Kampala for a long time, she was looking better than the girls in the village, and men were trying to come to her again. And she told me, Mommy, I looked at them and I'm like, they are not my class. Okay. My husband is not yet here. And I'm like, wow, that is a sign of recovery. That is a sign that she can now fight on her own. She can be an advocate for other girls like her.
But do you have girls that have not recovered? Because
yes, we do.
Because I know of people who have gone through such situations, and after they tend to hate men.
Yeah, we have. I remember there's a girl that we rescued, that every time she looked at a man come through the gate, she would run away. And it took us a very long time. And the reason we put men is so that they can get used. Because after reunification, they're going to face the men again.
True.
You know, so we decided to have the security guard as a man. We have a discipleship teacher as a man, and the administrator is a man.
Isn't that traumatizing?
We want them to face their fears. It is a way of recovery if they face their fears. Because out there, the men won't be hidden. The men will be out there, and they will do whatever it takes to do anything to these girls.
Sure.
So for resilience, we decided to have men on board. And just we have girls that have taken long to recover. We have, like that girl I told you, I think she recovered last year.
None that was gang raped.
Yes, she recovered last year.
You say that her home is far away, out of Kampala?
Yes, like
How
5 hours.
Did she get here?
How does she?
How did she get here?
She was trafficked by an uncle who brought her and promised the family he's taking her to school.
Okay.
So when he brings her, makes her the house girl of the house. So, and that's when the unfortunate part happened, that she was gang raped. And it was a struggle because he didn't want us to go back to this girl's family because he hadn't even told them what had happened to the girl.
Had he even known what had happened?
He knew because he even came to the shelter disguising as a very good uncle. So we got to know later, and we threatened him and told him, if you come back, we shall take you to police. So it was that bad.
He came to claim the girl?
No, he came with the girl, claiming to be a good uncle that is going to take care of her. And so when we started the family tracing process, he's like, no, bring her to me. I will take her. We're like, no. We have to take her back. And so he refused to even take us to where this girl stays. But she knew the primary school that was near their home.
Yes.
So we went to Google, and it was a government school. And when we got to the school, she said, from that school to my home, you can even walk. So when we got to the school, she directed us to her home.
Wow. Yeah. But the girls that you have, do parents come to claim them?
Some of them. But as an organization, we want to involve the family as much as possible. So most of the girls that we have at the shelter, their families know where the shelter is. Their families come to visit, and their families walk the journey of recovery with them. That is for parents who have not rejected them. But there's a case that we had. It was a stepfather that had abused the girl. We rescued her and she was 4.
4
when
years
that happened,
old?
yes. And so the mom claims the father used the girl to say that against the stepdad. So after like a year and something, I don't know how, I don't know why, but this guy was exonerated and he was out of prison. And then she comes and says, she calls me first. I remember it was on the 25th of December.
On Christmas.
On Christmas. And she calls me and she's so bitter and she tells me all these nasty words and I'm like, okay. So she goes to police and opens a case against me in a different police station. And that unfortunate day, the police person was so irresponsible, honestly.
The one on
That
duty.
just, and he turned against me and also sided with the woman after I told him my story. Fortunately, I knew the DPC of that place. So I called him and told him, this is going on. And he's like, Chindekede. I have a feeling they slept in jail for both of them, the police person and the lady. So the next time she calls me, she's a little calm and tells me I have to apologize for what happened and all this. I didn't know you're an organization, but I'm like, I used to come to police and you saw me, so I doubt you didn't know as an organization. But after some time, she wanted the girl back. So she tells me through her lawyers that this guy was exonerated, so he's not guilty and all that. So I tell them, please share with me the file number. And we follow up because they claim they called us in court and we didn't appear. But we have never received a call. Every time they call us,
You've
we
never
go.
been served.
We have never been called to go and witness because we prepare our girls as witnesses in court. So from that time, she says, I want my daughter back. I want my daughter back. And surprisingly, the girl still loves her mom.
There is the...
And she told me, for a Christmas holiday, can I go visit mom and spend the holiday with her? And I'm like, no.
So you have a right to say no.
I have a right to say no because she's a minor. And it's for her security. Because the man who abused her is still there. Not that she separated with the man, she's still with her. So I told the mom, the best I can do is maybe if you got a family member that is willing to take in the girl, and maybe you can visit. But in your house, no. So we are still working on it to see that maybe she can get a family member or her parents, who are this girl's grandmother and father, to take her in, and yeah, we can settle for that.
You said she even got the lawyers involved.
Yeah, she got her lawyers who called me and this man is not guilty. Why don't you give this daughter back to her mom? And I'm like, are you sure the man is not guilty? Please share the file. So we can also follow up from our end. And they have never called again.
And what does this man say?
He's guilty.
He has nothing to say.
He has nothing to say.
He just
He's as arrogant as I don't know.
Just went and used a 4-year-old. And the
mother had gone out because she works in one of the markets, so she leaves at around 5. And so, and you know, let me share this.
Please.
What breaks me the most is how these girls are asked questions in police and in court. They are supposed to narrate what happened.
Yes.
And in some courts, they're given dolls to demonstrate.
Dolls
to demonstrate.
here in Uganda.
In Uganda. And that has broken most of our girls that we have relapses. Because like what happened, like resurfaces and we find ourselves back to square zero.
Yes.
And we're supposed to redo the process of recovery. Because sometimes this happens when the girl is not fully healed because we're still in the journey, and then the court calls and you have to take this girl to court to testify and say this is the gentleman who did this, he did it like this and like this. Me as a mother, me as a person who has seen these girls when they come in, I feel it is unfair. I feel it is painful that they have to go through that. Yes.
Of all, you have, let's say you've worked with like 127 girls. How many courts
How many?
or cases have you handled in court over these different girls?
There are many. Only last year we won, was it 5 cases? Only last year.
How many cases had you had?
Some of them we lose them. Yeah, we lose some of the cases.
Like you have all the evidence, the girl was raped, the girl was
Yes.
trafficked,
Yes.
and you
And
lose.
the court tells us we don't have substantial evidence to win
And the girl has demonstrated everything.
everything. And it's so painful because one thing we believe is for this girl to fully recover, they have to know their perpetrator is nowhere near them.
Exactly.
That man is in jail and he is paying for his deeds. But when we tell them we lost the case, it hits them hard. And sometimes it's out of our control. Sometimes there's nothing much we can do as an organization. So
And
Which
I'm
has-
sure that creates a lot of fear in them.
it does. And that's one of the reasons we don't allow them to move out. Yes. Unless we are going as a group or we're going to church or we're going for swimming or we're going for a party as a team, but not individual.
These people, when they are paying, now, one has been confirmed they are guilty. How much time are they supposed to serve?
It differs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we have the aggravated defilement and the normal defilement. From a girl 14 and below, it's aggravated. And we have seen men go for over 20 years for aggravated defilement, 25 years. And then for the defilement, 10, 5. And I think it's also according to the court where the case happened. Some courts you go and the magistrate is like, yes, you need to pay for what you have done. And so,
Do you choose the court you go to?
no, it's the area where it happened is where the court we go to. So sometimes we go to Entebbe, Nyakwa, Mukono, Wakiso. So
Have you found the lawfare after all these cases that you've taken to court?
do you want me to be honest?
Please be honest.
To some extent, yes. And to some extent, no. Sometimes we feel like we have been treated unjustly. Sometimes we feel if they had taken more time to do research or to investigate on these cases, maybe it would have been a different story. Because sometimes you lose cases and you're like, I think the court didn't play its part in investigating on the case. Or and sometimes it is so easy. You go and the magistrate is like, you did it? Yes. Go pay.
That is it.
Go serve, you know? And reason I'm saying sometimes it's unfair is it breaks our girls so much when they go through that traumatizing experience. Sometimes the lawyers are hard on them. Tell us what happened. How
Yes,
was it? How, what was the color of his boxer? And just like, this is so insensitive. But I wouldn't blame them. They're doing their part to make sure their client is not imprisoned. But after all that, they have spoken, they have demonstrated, they have done all these things, and then the next thing you hear, the guy is on the streets celebrating. There's a case we had of a grandfather who abused his granddaughter. But because the so-called connected, the so-called rich, we kind of lost that case.
You kind of, or
And
you lost.
he threw a party in celebration. A huge party in celebration. Yeah, they said I did it, I didn't do it, and all that. And this girl was broken. That she says she didn't want to see any part of any member of their family anymore. She got a new family and she wants to leave it at that. She's now 16 years, but she doesn't want.
Actually, that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, we have the big guys, the rich guys. Have you handled a case, apart from the grandfather, where the victim was victimized by someone who is really low, like who is really, really well off, and when it comes to the law, I mean, they also have a say. Has it happened to you?
Very many times.
Oh,
Very
really?
many times, yes. And that's where International Justice Mission comes in to rescue us.
Okay.
Because they are also big.
Yes, ma'am.
They're not as small as Lupins Africa is. So we have had cases where they have come in and they have stood their ground. And we have won. And some cases, and our lives are also not safe. We have had cases where they have chased us and wanted to knock us, trying to kill us, and yeah, but we are still strong and
You've
going.
been threatened.
Yeah.
About this, okay, so when you fail or when you lose in this court here in Uganda, you apply to your higher court, the international, those big guys that you're talking about. That's where you go.
No, International Justice Mission offers legal support to the underprivileged. So reason I'm saying they are big is it's an international organization.
Yeah.
And if you went to court and introduced yourself as a lawyer for IJM, even the magistrates will get scared to throw a judgment that is against them. So that's why I say they have helped us a lot, and we appreciate their work because they are doing a really, really good job.
So should I say that all the cases that have been handled by the International Justice Mission, you've won?
We have.
And should we say that it's better you take that route?
Hopefully, but sometimes obviously they are overwhelmed with their own cases, and you don't want to be a burden.
Sure.
Just you don't want to be a burden to them, but yeah, they have come through every time we have asked. I've also gotten some cases of abuse through them. Just so we partner with different organizations, and I think it's one of the best things that have ever happened to us. That it's beyond us. Sometimes it's beyond the partners that we have, because sometimes we rescue girls that are pregnant.
Yes.
Yes, and we also partner with different organizations that help us with that, who are well equipped to take care of pregnant girls. And recently, one of our girls gave birth to a bouncing baby girl.
And how did you feel?
Oh,
You're a grandmother.
I'm a grandma. I'm a grandmom, and it blesses my heart that some of these girls, after all what they have gone through, they love their children.
Wow.
And unfortunately, some of them don't.
Yeah.
Some of them, because this particular girl was abused by her dad.
Her
And
biological father.
and she got pregnant. And so that she's asked me, so when this kid grows up, what do I tell him or her? Who is her father? So we are working still with other organizations that help us take in these girls, but still these kids, but still allow the girls to have access to their children. Yes. So we are walking a journey with her and seeing how best we can help her, because she's 14 years and we want her to go
14
back to
years
school.
old.
Yeah. She's 14 and a mother.
Oh dear. So the beauty is that in your organization, even when they give birth, they have an opportunity to a better life.
Yes.
They can go back to school.
Yes.
They can become something when they grow up. Oh, that's really nice.
We have seen them dream again. We have seen them. So we have one that wants to be a lawyer. And she said, Mommy, I want to be a lawyer, and I help Lupins Africa.
Wow.
So hopefully she's now in senior 4. And we're believing God that she will do law.
She will.
Yeah, because she's so articulate, she's so bold, she's strong, and yeah.
And on top of that, you take them to very good schools.
Yeah, we bless the Lord for that. And even the way we find the schools, it's so amazing. That for the best school in
Uganda?
not the best per se, but one of the best schools in Uganda, in Wakiso.
Okay.
So they were moving out flyers in the communities, and they come and knock at my gate at home. So when they knock, I'm like, I don't think I have an appointment with anyone, so I didn't go to the gate. So after I go and I find a flyer in the compound, and I'm like, wow. So I call them, I tell them what we do, and they're like, come and we talk, we can have a discount for you guys. And they give us a 70% discount.
Wow.
Yeah,
You only pay 30%.
30%.
Can't imagine how much you pay.
You don't want to know. You don't want to know how much we pay, but we are spending over 35 to 40 million per term on school fees.
And you talked about the donors that are helping a lot.
Yes, to our donors, we thank you. We couldn't do this without you because everything requires money. So when these girls come in, we do a full body checkup from malaria to HIV to hepatitis B, STDs, UTIs, and that all costs money.
Yeah.
Why do we do this? For these girls, number one, to be sure that they are safe, they don't have HIV. Number two, that they are not pregnant. Number three, that they don't have UTIs or STDs that
can spread to
cut
others.
Yes. And so with the gifting that we get from our friends and partners, we are doing a good job.
Wow, Doreen, you're actually doing a remarkable job. But I know very many girls are suffering, or very many homes are suffering with people who are going through this process, who have been abused. And I'm sure someone would want to talk to you about this. They would really want to reach out.
Yes.
Kindly share your contacts.
My email address is nambiadoreen2019@gmail.com. My phone number is 0703 858181, and that is on WhatsApp, or 0781 385722.
Okay. And your organization,
we have a website, www.lupinsafrica.org. So you can visit and just see what we do, and maybe akatalekeka. As an organization, as we celebrate the month of human trafficking in the world, every November we are proposing to start a fundraiser dinner for the locals to also support this cause.
Okay.
And not only wait for the donors out there. So every November we shall be coming out to invite you to come and be part of the fundraiser dinner that will help these girls grow strong and be advocates for the next generation.
Sure, so that we give hope to the next generation.
Yes.
Well, it was so beautiful having you on this show.
Thank you.
We hope to hear some more stories from you in the future.
Please.
It was nice sharing this session with Doreen. See you in our next episode. Bye-bye.